All right, we are live.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. It's V the Gorilla Economist coming to you live on Rogue Money Mornings with my main man, El Cuco, aka CJ. He's working the airwaves with the flux capacitors and the lithium crystals, making sure that the airwaves are coming out nice and smooth for this broadcast this morning. Follow us on roguemoney.net. Check us out on Twitter at the Rogue Money, Rogue Money on Facebook, Rogue Money Steam It, Rogue Money on every single podcasting app known to humanity, Rogue Money Apple News. We're everywhere you want us to be. In some places where you don't even know we're at, we're there anyway. Check out our sponsors also. I would check out mygoldusb.com and get yourself that silverback. It's on the attack. I got financial firms trying to reach out to me and saying, hey, we want your stuff because we're investing in cryptos for our clientele, and we need to want to use your stuff to secure the crypto wallet. So, one stop shop, folks. The Silverback does it all. Surf the web anonymously, encrypted email, encrypted browsing, a full-on office suite. You get everything for even your you could get your Bitcoin Ether wallet. Everything that you need is on there. You can put it right on there. It's amazing. It's still going for that special price of $299, and it's a beautiful device that is glass and metal. It is sexy, and it's engraved with a screaming monkey on it. Yours truly. I endorse it. I love it. So check it out. Silverback is one of your ways to support our efforts here on the Rogue Money Show. Also, check out thecryptoschool.io. Folks, if you haven't learned, if you don't know what it's about, thecryptoschool.io is the place to be in order for you to learn about the latest ICOs, latest coins, what are the best wallets, the best exchanges, thecryptoschool.io. With that being said, CJ, what is crackalacking, my friend?
Hey V, good morning. Good morning. It's a frozen morning here in the Midwest, but I'm thankful I'm
Oh
not
yeah,
dealing with what you are on the East Coast, V.
dude, it's horrible. It's horrible. It's so cold. It's fit for neither man nor beast, my man. Man nor beast. It's. You get out there. I mean, they got like frostbite warnings. They got wind chill warnings. It's bad.
Yeah, it's nasty. It's definitely nasty. But no, a lot of information came out overnight yesterday. Probably one of the trending topics everywhere is regarding Jeff Sessions and his announcement yesterday in regards to the Attorney General that they're going to roll back some of the legislation, roll back some of the direction that the Justice Department had previously given states in regards to the Obama era hands off the states' rights with medical and recreational cannabis fee.
Here's the point, Siege. I mean, this is your wheelhouse, man. Like, what is this guy's problem, bro? Like, are we living in the '50s all over again? Do we really want to have non-violent offenders locked up in prison where they become violent offenders or they become so psychologically damaged that they can't function anymore because of a stupid drug charge? I mean, my God, man. I mean, what is wrong with this guy?
Yeah, I mean, I think specifically regarding Jeff Sessions, it's definitely an outdated thought process, and he's definitely getting a lot of information coming back to him, a lot of negativity coming back from both sides of the spectrum, and that's one of the things in terms of like cannabis and the legalization. I think latest statistics we have it like almost upwards of 70% in terms of national approval for medical use. So that's a clear picture that shows just how outdated his thoughts are. So it goes back to that timeline of his old outdated thoughts regarding reefer madness and the cannabis, marijuana leads to other drug addiction, leads to teenage use, leads to violent crime that are not true what's occurring. Now, in saying that, his job, his role as is to, his job is not to create laws, right? That's not his spectrum of his responsibility. His job is to follow the laws that are put forth, and that's what his office specifically does. Now, I'm not saying that I'm in favor of what he did at all. However, V, from a different perspective, this does force the government, the federal government, to act, nationally to correct some of the issues that are brought about. And so my perspective is this: it's twofold. Is that number one, we should be getting government completely out of the way. We shouldn't want government involved at all in terms of cannabis, the hemp.
Right.
I mean, even in the states that people champion regarding legalization, which most, when you think of that, you think of usually Colorado, right? That's one state that everyone's like, oh yeah, Colorado's great, this and that. Even with their government involvement there, well, like a month ago, there was actually one of the largest dispensaries on the West Coast states that they shut down all their licenses. Their dispensary managers were arrested, all because of accusations that they sold over the maximum amount that's legally sold. And it wasn't. It was our friend Vin Armani that truly woke me up to this type of thought process in regards to, when we give government permission, to set the laws, to set the parameters, to set the boundaries. You can have medical cannabis, but it can only be used for pain. It can't be used for these three things. So you need to keep fighting that battle. How easier would it be if there was a federal that said, you know what, we're going to remove cannabis completely from the schedule of drugs. We're going to completely decriminalize, its use, and we're going to do it at a federal level. We're going to get government completely out of the way. And I'm hoping that this can be achieved, because when you look at the amount of Democrats, the amount of Republicans that people have came out against Jeff Sessions, this is a time to act. This is a time nationally to get government out of the way. There's tons of advocates that can thing in terms of when the government does get involved. I've been trying to book her for an interview, but Jody Emery, who is the CEO of Cannabis Culture in Canada, she can attest to this. She can attest to that when governments get involved and when governments take over the space. And that's something that we shouldn't be applauding in the legalization efforts, that, oh yeah, we're great because government is letting us do this. Government's doing that. No, get government the heck out of the way. And let's do that nationally and make it a lot easier for the states.
Right.
Be having to pay $100,000 for a grow license, right?
That's ridiculous. Yeah.
So there's so many reasons why we need to get government out of the way. And the other aspect, the other angle that I'm glad that this is bringing about is states' rights versus the federal government. And this exposes why we need to completely decentralize the federal government, get them out of the way, get back to states, determining what they want to do for their citizens. This can bring that tide.
Yeah.
Go ahead, V.
No. I was listening to you. I was saying, yeah. I was also thinking, Siege, I think Jeff is being prodded, and he is being, what's the word? He's being applauded and given the go ahead and the support. I strongly believe this, and some people might disagree with this, but I really don't care. I'm going to go ahead and say, TJ, I think it's the ridiculous evangelical Christian community that's in the United States, the old school evangelicals, right? The whole Bible Belt that's pushing Sessions, okay, and the Trump administration to go ahead and do this nonsense. They don't get it. It's the same group of people who think the cryptocurrencies are the mark of the beast. It's the same people who think, oh my God, you're going to get that head high. They don't know what the hell they're doing. And they think that legalization of marijuana is somehow you're legalizing sin. You're giving the lawful right to sin. And this is a problem, man. And this type of thinking, we don't need government. We don't need government in any facet of our lives, period. I agree with you wholeheartedly, bro.
Yeah, I mean, it would just make things, so much, easier. And state by state to think about, how ridiculous is it that, each state determines, what the process is and the application process and who gets a license and who doesn't get a license for a natural plant that for, we're not going to go over the whole history of it today and turn this into a Rogue 420 show. But anyway, there's lots to discuss with it. So I'm really hoping this forces, and it's a great time because this is going to allow us in the midterm elections to really to find out on the state, federal level for your congressperson that's running, your senators, to really question, to really drill them, to say, hey, are you for this? Are you going to decriminalize? Are you going to completely unschedule cannabis? Because I think that is what the national movement wants to accomplish, and that would remove this whole state by state. You can use cannabis for this, you can't for that. There's just so many reasons to just get completely, government out of the way in terms of the cannabis, the entire movement with that industry V.
Yeah, absolutely correct, my man. I agree with you wholeheartedly. Government needs to get the heck out of the way. See, which brings us to the next topic, my man. You know, we need a decentralized government. And here's a great article by, I think, Liberty. You want to go ahead and break that down, or you want me to handle that?
Yeah, no, it's a great point, because this is just another perfect example of a national consensus agrees on a topic. Over 70% support legalization, and when you have constituents who don't, when you have representatives who don't follow or listen to the will of the people, that exposes just how polluted and how bloated our federal government is. That we need to completely decentralize it, limit or none at all federal level type policies and administrations, because there's several people here that truly understand that states and much more can be accomplished at the state level, in terms of what your local laws are, what your local, and again, just the whole aspect regarding government, that the need to decentralize and move away from this huge bureaucratic process that we currently have at the federal level. V.
Man, here's the deal. Okay, this whole insanity. Okay, Attorney General Jeff Sessions, when he rescinded the Obama era policy that paved the way for legalized marijuana to flourish in states across the country, creating new confusion about enforcement and use just 3 days after a new legalization law went into effect in California. President Donald Trump's top law enforcement official announced the change Thursday, and instead of the previous lenient federal enforcement policy, Sessions' new stance will instead let federal prosecutors, where marijuana is legal, decide how aggressively to enforce longstanding federal law. How the hell are they going to pull this off, man? Like, where do you draw the line? I mean, and this is a great point in Liberty Blitzkrieg. An incredibly toxic and divisive, insane political environment. There are a few things Americans across the country and across the partisan lines agree on. Cannabis legalization is one of them. You look at every single poll after poll after poll after poll, majority of Americans want this thing legalized already. Not just because of the medical aspects of it, but the fact of the matter is, why are when you make this a federal felony? Are you kidding me, man? This is evil. This is evil.
Yeah, it truly exposes it all, and so again, decentralized. We're doing it with the cryptos. It's time we take a hard look at government and accomplish the same thing. V.
Absolutely, bro. If I was Trump, I'd get little reefer madness and put him in line, bro. I'd put him in line very quickly. It's stupid. It's absolutely patronizing. It's stupid. We don't need this legal ninnying from the government, man.
Bingo. Exactly.
Just you cannot trample on the will of the people. And if he can't do this, he needs to step down. He needs to step down because this is important, because this helps breaks the back of the medical cartels, the pharmaceutical cartels, in a very big way, CJ.
Right. Yeah. Massive. Mm-hmm. To think that the ailments, the number of diseases that could be treated, outside of the realm of the, it's interesting when I read some of the posts in regards to, marijuana and what you stated earlier in terms of, yes, it's wrong, it's wrong for society, and the majority of people don't understand that drugs on an annual basis kills more people than street drugs.
Dude, no one's died from smoking weed. Okay, no one's died from like nobody sat there, smoked a joint, or did a bong hit, or ate some edibles, or had some endocannabinoid oils, some CBD, and dropped dead immediately after taking it. I mean, I mean, Colorado's had legalized marijuana for years now, and you could see from the traffic data, accidents actually went down. So it's ridiculous, CJ. It's ridiculous. Anyway, CJ, moving forward, bro. What is this Project Zero, man? What's going on here? What is this critical CPU
Yeah, a
flaw
couple of
that's been
thoughts.
discovered?
Yeah,
Go
so
ahead, man.
yeah, so an announcement that came out in this regards to Google's Project Zero, and this particular team of Google was set out to look at any type of vulnerabilities in computers, in the CPUs and the processes. They discovered this quite a while ago, but it was supposed to be a coordinated release regarding what transpires. So I'm not going to go into the complete information regarding what's happening, but this is an article that came to us, and basically what it states, V, is that Google's cloud customers, they were notified of the chip vulnerability announced earlier today. They also indicated that Project Zero discovered this vulnerability last year. The company stayed informed with chip makers of the issues, which is caused by a process known as speculative execution. This is an advanced technique that enables the chip to essentially guess what instructions might be coming next to speed up the execution. Unfortunately, that capability is vulnerable to malicious actors who could access critical information stored in memory, including encryption keys and passwords. According to
Crap.
Google, this affects all chip makers, including those from AMD and ARM and Intel. Although AMD yet has denied the vulnerability in its latest blog post, Intel denied, but it was later confirmed, and this is coming out. And then another article that was just released on Zero Hedge that came out, Apple was kind of stating the same thing. Apple says all iPhones, Mac exposed to meltdown and these potential Spectre flaws that are created with these processors in that stored memory that's there to make them more efficient, to make them boot quicker. Again, they kind of anticipate what the computer is going to be doing. Information comes out like this. I kind of look at it a couple different ways. First is that they're preparing to sell us, different products or different computers, or push us to different services, right? That, hey, right, everyone needs to do this. You need to download this patch, or you need to, we're going to be manufacturing this new PC or this new iPhone because it's going to be so much better. That in the event that something does happen, they can easily explain away why this particular thing happened. So again, I think in the times that we're currently living, that we need to analyze this information that's coming at us, why this is being released. Nothing happens by coincidence. There's specific reasons why they're releasing this now. So we'll have to wait and see. So much to what you had talked about earlier in regards to, the Silverback and its ability for encryption, its ability to operate, on its own. That may be very viable here in the future, but we need to be on alert in regards to this vulnerability that does exist, and it looks like almost all devices.
Well, see, here's the deal, man. We live in a non-privacy world, right? I mean, there's no privacy anywhere. Privacy is something that's thrown out the window, and you have no protection. When you have idiots like Equifax coming out and saying, "Yeah, you know what, guys, 150 million Americans' social security numbers and accounts are compromised," that's a problem. See, we so cheaply give away our privacy to these bureaucracies, to these corporations, to the heck, even the doctor's office, right? We so cheaply and loosely give it away. And we think we just, lackadaisically entrust these people with the safeguarding of that information. And then lo and behold, we find out that they weren't safeguarded to begin with. They were heavily compromised. This is a huge problem. Folks, here's the deal. Your most sensitive data, whether it's your family photos, whether it's your files, whether it's your whatever you got, you should have a backup device. Okay? You can create your own in-home cloud network that's separate from the internet. But at the same time, having a device like the Silverback, and I'm sorry for the shameless plug, but the damn thing works. There's not anything like it in the market. I kid you not. We're at least a couple years ahead of anybody else at this point. The Silverback with a 1024 ECC encryption, you can't beat that with a stick. You can't crack it if you tried. You need to have your valuable files, your key codes. Oh my God. I mean, my goodness, man. It's like people who have these phone wallets. I mean, what does that tell you? I mean, if ARM chips, like I'm looking at my, I'm doing this call on my iPhone X, which is, the more I look at my iPhone X, it's a crappy phone. It's annoying, bro. With a stupid face, I can't multitask, because my internet's down right now because of the storm. So I got the iPhone.
Dude, you don't even have a home button on that thing. You don't even have a home button on that, do you?
Bro, I wish they gave me a virtual one, right? And trying to multitask on this phone is so painful. Like I have my iPhone X here, and to look at the screen with all of our stuff that we have lined up in terms of news, I have my Galaxy Note 8, which is a monster of a phone. Now, if and I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute, the next bit of news, this was reported on about the Apple devices, CJ, where they're saying that they're vulnerable. Every single iOS device is vulnerable. This is a problem because I'm thinking about people who actually have, they'll download a wallet app and keep that wallet app on that phone with their key codes. Now your cryptocurrencies are vulnerable. You know what I'm saying? It's vulnerable now. So now you got to move that crap around. It's ridiculous, Siege, bro. It's ridiculous.
Right, and we do that. I what you said at the beginning was so important, is that we allow ourselves to this, and I'm guilty of it as well. How many times do I download the next app or this because it's free, and as I'm just scrolling through accepting the terms and conditions, that it says that this gives us access to monitor your phone calls, to access your photos, to access everything, and then to top that off, then we're putting these devices in our homes, right? We're putting these Echo Dots and these Amazon things that sit there and listen to almost every conversation, and that's how they know. That's how when you have these devices, when you go to look at the internet, and then something you spoke about with your wife about either dinner or something you're buying for your home, and then all of a sudden you have ads popping up on your web browser.
Everywhere. And there's a way around that, guys. What I recommend is you go, especially if you have an Android phone, you simply go into your settings. Then there's a tab that says Google. Click on Google and you turn off the advertisements. This way they don't start hitting you with ads left and right. But yeah, I mean, but again, the stupid Amazon Alexa, the Google. I don't have those NSA listening devices in my home. You gotta be kidding me, man. No way. I'm good. I mean, here's a story from Apple. It says all Mac systems and iOS devices are affected. Apple acknowledged in a statement on Thursday, adding that no cases have been reported of customers being affected by the security flaw. No cases have been reported. We just found this out yesterday, and they're saying no cases have been reported. Well, how do you know that you've been hacked? How do you know if somebody just took off with your key codes? How do you know if somebody just stole your pass? You don't know that until days, maybe weeks later. We just found out this news yesterday. I bet they have the John Ive voice. Here at Apple, all Mac systems and iOS devices are affected. But no cases have been reported as of yesterday. Gee whiz, thanks.
Right, yeah.
To address these security vulnerabilities, Apple users may have noticed suspiciously timed software updates released earlier this week for their iPads, MacBooks, and iPhones. An update that appeared to precede news about the latest controversy involving makers of microprocessors. Intel, one of the world's largest chip makers, admitted that its chips contain a flaw, making it easy for hackers to hoover up sensitive information like the owner's passwords. It was later revealed that this flaw wasn't exclusive to Intel chips. Indeed, it reportedly affects nearly all microprocessors in circulation, according to the New York Times. So let me get this straight, Siege. This is affecting your traditional x86 based chipsets, right?
Correct.
Then it's also affecting the ARM based chipsets, right?
Yep.
That's basically the entire computer world, bro.
Yeah, I mean,
That's everything.
I don't know what other processes are out there. Yeah. And
My
probably like
God.
99% of devices are out there.
I mean, I don't know of a single processor that doesn't, or a single computer or a smartphone that doesn't use x86 architecture in the computers. And every single smartphone out there is built on ARM architecture. So ARM chips, whether you're running a Snapdragon 835 or an Apple A11 Bionic, those are both ARM chips, or even a Kirin 970 or a MediaTek processor. These are all based on ARM architecture. You're affected. So what the hell do you do? Are they giving us a solution here?
Well, they said that there's going to be some releases potentially coming out, but again, this may be a sales technique because it's announcing that it potentially could slow down your computer percent. Apple finally had to admit,
God.
Apple a month ago finally had to admit that their, releases, will purposely slow down your phones, and they do that for a reason. They claim it's because of the batteries, as the batteries to process things slows down, so therefore they purposely slow down your phone right as they're releasing a new phone. but but anyway.
Now they're giving you upgrades on batteries for $29 if you just go to the Apple store.
Yeah. So if you don't want a slower, older phone, then you need to buy a new battery for $30. Here you go.
Oh my God! Look, I'm just reading this. Check this out. Here it goes. We're dealing with two serious threats. The first is isolated to Intel chips, has been dubbed meltdown, and it affects virtually all Intel processors. The patch, this is their fix for us, CJ. The patch, called Kaiser, will slow performance speeds of processors down as much as 30%. That's huge. A 30% reduction in performance? Are you kidding me? Now, the second issue,
Right.
look at this.
Yeah.
The second issue is a fundamental flaw in processor design approach, dubbed Spectre, which is more difficult to exploit, but affects virtually all processors on the market and has no fix. What the hell, man?
Yeah. Like I said, either this information gets released, on purpose. So either specifically a new wave of computers are coming out that's going to force everyone to want to go, upgrade, or again, I don't want to turn this into, conspiracy theorist hour, but in the event that something, does happen massive, they can easily blame, some third party, blame it on North Korea, the Russians. They found this vulnerability. We did our part to alert everyone in advance, and this is why it happened. This is how they did it. Just a firm believer that this information that comes out to us is no coincidence. V.
This is terrible. This is terrible. Updates affects all iPads, iPhones, iPod touches, Mac desktops, laptops. Not my Apple TV. It affects that too. Apple TV set top, Apple Watch, which runs a derivative of the phone's operating system. Oh, the watch is not affected, CJ. That's it. That's the answer right there. Everybody go out and get a watch. Browser makers Google, Microsoft, and Mozilla, Firefox, also Reuters that the patches they currently have in place do not protect iOS users. With Safari and virtually all of the popular browsers not patched, hundreds of millions of iPhones and iPad users may have no secure means of browsing the web until Apple issues its patch Dude, the internet's been acting weird lately. Have you noticed that?
It is everywhere. Yeah,
Like
there's
I
just
went to
very.
Google.com and it says your browsing is no longer private. Head back to safety. I'm like, dude, I'm on Google.com. I'm using a Chrome browser and it's telling me that I'm in danger. What in the world's going on?
Yeah, well, here's a scary thought for you. I can't remember what service I was looking at, and I was ordering something, and it was picking up my IP address, and it was stating that I was completely somewhere else than it was somebody. So somehow I was redirected somehow at a local level, and it wasn't even showing, my true location, and it wasn't something that was turned off or something having to be refreshed. I did it a few times. So yeah, so lots of crazy things going on right now, V.
Unreal, man. Unreal.
Hey, you still there?
Cool. Yeah, I'm here. I'm just
Okay.
in
No,
shock of all this. I'm making sure my butt's covered.
you're looking at real quick. And also yesterday for hanging with Harley, Harley did have some connection issues the last few times, and he's obviously he's overseas, so we may switch that, be figure out a different way to connect with him and maybe turn that into a pre-recorded show if we have that
Yeah.
Happen. But he did have some information, some very important information, to go back and listen to it. And then also there's an article that came out regarding some of the things he specifically talked about on the website, theduran.com, in regards to the deep states, their plan C. And this specifically talked, around an interview that Roger Stone did with the New American Magazine. And we're seeing that come out right now. There's a book that apparently got released of some insider that apparently, spent all this time with people surrounding Trump, and how chaotic and his emotions, how he wasn't stable, how something's happened to him since he's been. So this is going around the news cycle right now, and and everyone's asking this person, well, who did you, this author, who did you meet with, who did you talk with? And he's like, well, I have people who are connected of people who are in the inner circle. So this is this plan, this three-pronged approach plan that they had planned. Is obviously plan A was the deep state with the Russian collusion, which is absolutely falling apart. Plan B was to utilize the U.S. Constitution 25th Amendment to get enough of the cabinet to declare him unfit. And Plan C, again, which is something that Roger Stone warned about, that Harley talked about, is specifically related, directly tied to similarities between JFK and what we're witnessing now. So right now, this first quarter of 2018, very important for all of us to be alert, to take a look at the information, everything that's going on, and it's just amazing time right now, V, to be witnessing this, and keep the administration in your prayers, keep Donald Trump in your prayers, everything that's occurring right now, because the deep state is getting very desperate at this point.
Yeah, absolutely, my man. They're getting desperate because it's all out war, and I kind of get why Trump surrounded himself with generals like Kelly and Mattis. I get it now, and it's because these guys can follow orders, and I think it's because we are at a war. I mean, last night there was a flight heading out to Venezuela that was turned back, that was intercepted. It was tracked on flight radar, and it was intercepted. So these cretins are being caught left and right. Yesterday, outside of Alexandria, Virginia, some sort of a character was SWAT teamed, except it wasn't police that SWAT teamed him. It was some sort of federal special operations unit that basically surrounded his vehicle in unmarked Chevy Suburbans and had this guy pulled out. So something's definitely going on, without a doubt here. It is all-out war, and the deep state is losing, which makes them all the more dangerous, Siege. So yes, people need to pray for this country and hope that we weather the storm that is ahead.
1,000%.
Yep. All right, man. Let's. You want to hit one more item, or you want to call it?
Yeah, you pick it. Yeah, you pick it. Yeah, I feel bad because I usually layer in my topics, and I think that I cram mine up to the front. So.
Well, I'm going to touch two things real quick.
Yeah, you
Um,
go for it. Yeah,
we're
you
going to
go
touch,
for it.
yeah, we'll touch base on the crypto, basically bitch slapping Silicon Valley, where the CEO of Ripple right now is worth more than Mark Zuckerberg. It just shows you where cryptocurrencies have come, and it shows you how terrified these establishment brands are, and how cryptos are changing the game. With that being said, also check out what I'm calling Tron Legacy. Tron is a new cryptocurrency, breaks into the top 10 cryptocurrencies, displacing Dash. And Dash was on a massive growth trigger. On the morning of January 4th, the cryptocurrency known as Tron, its ICO code is TRX, posted 136% growth, becoming the ninth largest cryptocurrency by market capitalization, pushing Dash to 11th place. The old coin has been on a bullish trend since mid-December, growing well over 2,000% since then. In the first week of 2018 alone, the coin has been seen almost 300% growth. Tron hit 20 cents earlier today and is currently trading on an average of 17 cents with a market cap, folks, of 12.4 billion at press time. What is Tron? Tron is a blockchain-based protocol for the entertainment industry, a platform for content distribution, which Tron's native token TRX is circulated. The project ran an ICO early September, hitting the fundraising goal of 70 million. TRX has been trading since mid-September. In the past few days, the founder and CEO of Tron, Justin Sun, has posted a couple of tantalizing tweets that hint at upcoming partnerships without disclosing any names or details. On January 2nd, Ton tweeted, my God, Sun tweeted, my goodness, Siege, I'm getting dyslexic, about potential partnerships with giant companies, noting boldly that we will be huge. Early morning, January 4th, followed up a second teaser tweet, prestigious partnership to be announced next week. So at 20 cents, it's going for. Um, you guys need to take a look at Tron. TRX is the code. See if you can scalp some up. Again, it's not investment advice. It's just my opinion. With that being said, CJ, that brings us to the end of the program. I love the fact that Ether is on a tear. Bitcoin Cash is on a tear. Bitcoin is on a tear. Everything's on a tear. And I'm loving life. But the only thing I'm worried about right now is all these computer issues, which is worrisome to say the least.
Yeah, definitely crazy. Yeah, so today, later on today, V will check the calendar, but I'm fairly certain that we have Gus
Gus.
Demos. So he always puts together. So excited for that. Make sure to visit roguemoney.net. Check out the great articles there. James, the Russian analyst, is back 100%. So we're excited to have James back. So he sent us a little quick snippet of an article he's putting together. Tune roguemoney.net.
Absolutely. And with that being said, folks, we're over and out. Take it away, CJ.